motocross turned out to be a shocker. Defending champion Ricky Carmichael saw his momentum snapped by the Yamaha four-stroke of first-time 250 winner Tim Ferry. Travis Pastrana had his troubles as well, while South Africa's Grant Langston became the first rider in motocross history to win his very first 125 American motocross. Are the newcomers for real? It's coming up next on Speed World. Comes to bring you the action from near Sacramento, California. It's a hot day, but one of the best crowds I can remember for the Hangtown Classic. And what a surprise after that first round. Grant Langston, the second consecutive year a foreign rider has won the opening 125 motocross round. Ron Cotton did it last year. Grant Langston said he would do it this year and came from Europe to do it. Mike Brown was right behind him in second place in both motos, ending up second in the point standings as well. Defending champion Travis Pastrana. He's in the same position he was last year. After the opening round in Glen Helen, he's within striking distance of Langston and Brown. Let's go down to the gate and Davey.
Last week, Grant Langston rode into the record books as the first 125 national rider ever to win the first national he entered. Well, this week he's back with a points lead. He's brought the entire staff of KTM with him. All the top brass came over from Manitoba. Heinz Kinnigander, Kurt Nicole, one of the CEOs. They just want to see if Langston can hold on the points lead. It's something KTM has never had in an AMA National Series.
Number 111 beaming with confidence as he leads off our roster with Pastrana, Mike Brown, and Michael Brandis, who's done well at this track before. Ernesto Fonseca and Nathan Ramsey on the four strokes, along with KTM Sellards and David Pingree. Danny Smith looking to rebound after an injury-riddled Supercross season. Roderick Kane looking for good things. Steve Lampson won here last year. 4 times he's won at this track. 4 of his 21 career 125 victories. And along with veterans Huffman and Larry Ward, we've got the younger set as we look at the rest of the roster. One big change, and it's a big change in the track this year, David Bailey.
Yes, it is. Pretty much everything else stays the same hard-packed soil. A little bit hard to pass, some of the riders are saying, but a difficult section of the track right here. Our Davey Coombs is going to take us around there. He hasn't jumped this double jump yet. We'll see if he chickens out.
So here goes
David Pingree up there ahead of him. Pingree told Davey, just follow my pace. I bet you he's nervous right now. Here it comes.
Whoa! Whoa! Thanks, Dave! That's the biggest jump I ever did in my life.
That's a good thing he made it, too. That could have been America's Funniest Home Videos.
It was a great one. Nice going, Davey. As we get set for Moto number 1 of the 125s, Grant Langston. He didn't get great starts, no hole shots in that first round, but he was right around second, third, fourth in his starting, and then took his time, but paced himself to take the lead and win both motos in the opening round. Mike Brown, well, he's a fighter, and he proved that against Langston over in Europe. These two were rivals in the 125 division in the GPs when Langston won the title last year. We're set to go for the opening moto from Sacramento. It's Larry Ward with the whole shot of the YZ250F. The four-stroke of Larry Ward, number 10. The veteran comes through here in Sacramento. Turn 2, Lampson, he skids down, look out. Lampson gets hit by one rider, 2 riders. Brown goes down on the left, he gets run over. And Pastrana is also involved. Look at that, he's trying to remount and falls down the hill. Oh my goodness, half the field was involved in that turn 2 crash. The benefactor, Larry Ward. He was out in front of it all.
That's one of the biggest pileups I think I've ever seen, Art, and Lampson just got plowed by everybody. I hope he's okay.
Larry Ward out in front. Lampson is still down. Brown is still down as we take another look.
Well, see, Lampson didn't get his front wheel set in the berm. Went into that slime, and look at all the riders taking him out. It looks like Nick Way over there on the left, one of the last riders to get involved. Now watch Travis right in the middle. He picks his bike up. But when he swings his left leg over, he can't reach the ground. Goes down again. Now, it's hot out here, and he's going to pay the price for all that energy spent, plus the fact that he's got to come from so far behind now.
One of the all-time veterans of the sport. His first professional season was 1986. Number 10, Larry Ward, coming back for the national season after having to sit out the Supercross year. It's Ivan Tedesco of Plano Honda in second. Ernesto Fonseca, Yamaha of Troy in third. So Ernesto's in good position now as we take a look at the field summary up top. Brandon Jesselman and also Hansel a real good start in the top 5 for him.
You know, I can't believe what's happening here with Larry Ward. I mean, what an impressive ride at Glen Helen. 4th in the first moto. In the second moto, once he had his problems, he jumped back in behind the leaders, Langston and Brown. He stayed on him the whole way. So his speed is there. He just needed a start. That's what he got. Also getting a great start was what he lacked at Glen Helen was Fonseca right there running 3rd.
Oh, in second place, Hot Sauce, Tedesco. Feet off the pegs, David.
Well, the first lap is tricky because they water the track. Of course, the guys got a chance to look at it, their warm-up lap, but it's still slick. He found one of those slick spots. Good save, though. Tedesco's strong. Stuff like that doesn't really seem to bother him. Oh, there's another slick spot. Same place Lamson went down.
Engine kept running. Tedesco remounts. He lost about 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah, watch the front wheel. No chance. He's under braking right there. He probably still had a little bit of front brake getting into that corner. Dropped it. You know, usually in the first lap when you go down, a lot of guys get by you, but the field's pretty spread out thanks to that huge pileup, so he didn't lose much.
Larry Ward's reputation was a great Supercross rider. In fact, in 1995, he had the highest finish for a privateer in the history of the sport, second behind McGrath. But since 1990, he has never finished out of the top 10 in motocross. He is our leader. The battle right now is for second place. It's Jessamine along with Ernesto Fonseca. Bar to bar we go into the double.
Jessamine's got that inside, though, just blocks Fonseca out. I think Ernie'd have a little bit of a power advantage going up that hill, but Jessamine had the inside.
So Jessamine now moves into second place with Fonseca trying to regroup. But out in front, still, the veteran Larry Ward here in Sacramento. We'll be right back with more 125 action. Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, long-lasting trucks on the road. And by Honda's deals to move on. Now's the time to get the world's best deals on the world's best bikes. While we were away here from the first Moto 125 action, Nathan Ramsey went down. Ramsey last May, the first 2-time Dave Coombs Sr. 125 shootout winner. But he's having trouble here today. In our first 125 Moto, Larry Ward still leads.
Well, there was a great opportunity for Jessamine to put some pressure on Ward, maybe grab the lead. His front end washed out right through the mechanics area, and Fonseca slipped by. So he may have seen his opportunity there just disappear. Now he's got more pressure.
Fonseca reclaiming second place behind Larry Ward, and they start closing the gap. And look at this. We've got 4 riders pretty close. We have a 5-rider shootout for the lead here.
These guys are all pretty tight. They've got to be careful leaving the door open, but Ward's still got a nice little cushion out there. Once again, the 2 4-strokes out front. I have a feeling people are going to gripe more and more about that rule until it gets changed.
We'll see if he controls it, though, for the victory here in Sacramento at the Hangtown Classic as they go up that big 75-foot jump and then come firing down the hill. This track, long known as a single-line track.
There's a perfect example right there. That one berm, it's just so much better than anywhere else. If one of these guys was to try a little something else, the guy behind him could just use the berm and pass him. So it is a little bit difficult to pass. You pretty much just have to really keep a lot of heat on the guy ahead of you and hope he makes a mistake. There's Fonseca's mechanic, Kenny Germain.
Nice going, nice going.
Sorry I butchered his name at the Salt Lake ABC. I couldn't believe I got so stuck there.
The battle for first place is now on. Look at this. Fonseca now starting to make a move on Larry Ward. The 2 4-strokes. Yamaha's got to be real proud as they start to separate themselves just a little bit from Jessamine in 3rd. And Bobby Bonds, the split-fire pro circuit rider, has moved up into 4th.
Well, I'm not surprised to see Larry out front, but it's a little bit of a surprise for Fonseca. I don't really recall him setting the world on fire outdoors to this point. And at Glen Helen, of course, he had the biggest bruise I've ever seen. But what a nice rebound from that performance.
Bonds has now moved into 3rd in front of Jessamine. Look at this. Fonseca shows the wheel to Ward. Can't quite get the angle. And so Bonds is tightly moved into third right now. It's a three-way battle for the lead. Fonseca looking for opportunity on this track.
Things really changing now up front. A lap ago, Larry enjoyed a nice cushion. Now the guy bringing up fourth is Langston. He's going to really make this interesting. If he's really caught these guys, he's going to put a lot of heat on, force the... that's when you'll start to see mistakes. I talked a moment ago about keeping the heat on. Langston's really going to pour it on these guys.
There goes Ward, Fonseca, Bonds, and Langston. Bonds cutting to the inside. Showing a wheel to Fonseca.
Smart move by Bonds to get in there and let Fonseca know, hey, if I'm this close to you the next lap, you better not take that outside or it's over.
No one's ever questioned the speed of Bobby Bonds.
No, I've questioned his ability to stay up front and to continue with that same speed.
Fonseca making sure Ward knows that he's right there. They all hit that same berm once again.
You're going to Bonds again. You know, he's a new kid, though. That's what you usually see out of these guys. Remember Carmichael, Pastrana, a lot of the new guys, they've got the speed, but it takes them a while to learn how to stay up front.
To the inside, Fonseca. A nice little block move by Fonseca, our second leader of this 125 opening moto.
Well, it's nothing new for Fonseca to work his way into the lead, but it's new to do it outdoors.
And there goes Bobby Bonds. Here comes Langston. Bonds has trouble. Langston moves into second place. Langston was in the right place at the right time.
I think Bonds has been hanging out with Ramsey. And he takes Langston all the way to the fence. Watch this again. Bonds comes in there and block passes Ward. Langston gets them both, but as soon as Bonds lands, he hits a braking bump, gets all squirrely. Nice job to save that. I know guys that actually ride around like that on purpose, just horsing around. It's not bad practice. We've seen it twice this year.
Here comes Langston to the inside. Can Fonseca get him back again? Bar to bar we go down the hill. Fonseca regains the lead. Oh, this is the best, most competitive battle for the lead we've had in the young season. Our field summary. Kelly Smith in sixth. Gossler in the top 10. But all eyes right now are right out in front, David.
Yeah, Tedesco dropping back to ninth with that mistake, but look at the pressure Langston puts on you. And that will make anybody nervous. You start riding his race, start worrying about everything he's doing.
The KTM two-stroke edges in front of the four-stroke of Yamaha. And Langston secures the lead, the third leader in a short period of time.
Man, this guy is strong. I was real impressed at the opening round. Of course, that's what he said he was going to do. I thought, well, if he can do that again, I'll really be impressed. And he is doing it again.
Kurt Nicole looking on.
One of the guys Davey talked about earlier. I think he was a 500 world champion. Used to race motocross the nations back when I raced. That's been around for a long time.
A lot of KTM brass are here to watch this kind of action.
Listen, just a brilliant block pass, clean, good move. He flips the front wheel of Fonseca a little bit. That's only because Fonseca didn't want to give it to him.
And now we've got Fonseca trying to put pressure back on Grant Langston. Just staying with him now is going to be tough. So another new leader in our first Moto of 125 action from Sacramento, California. Once again, it's Grant Langston in front. Of the season at Glen Helen, Grant Langston is in the lead, but the battle right now is for fourth place. Jessamine, number 31, and number 35, Kelly Smith, the very first rider to win an American motocross on a KTM. Kelly Smith, he did it last year in the mud and the rain.
Well, he probably felt pretty good during the first couple of laps of this moto with all the water they put on it.
Mitch Payton, watching his riders with a little bit more success in motocross so far than in the Supercross season. Unusual season for Mitch.
Yeah, he's got a lineup of bikes at the Pro Circuit office, championships on top of championships, and this year it's been a wild ride for him. But look at this new kid Bonds. He's got the speed, no question. Looks like he's a little bit faster than Fonseca. I don't know if he can catch Langston or not, but second's up for grabs here.
Fonseca, after being passed for the lead by Langston, now feels the pressure of Bobby Bonds. Bonds is almost like a kamikaze rider. He is so fast, and he'll take chances. Out in front, number 111, Grant Langston.
Look at how he just hops out of that rut. I like the way he does that. He just gets up out of there. There's no reason to hold it wide open if the rear wheel's not really going to be on the ground there, because as soon as the rear wheel touches something, it slides off into a hole you didn't want to hit.
Fonseca holding down second still. What's great about the Nationals, the crowd is so close to the action, you can hear them. Larry Ward going down. So Ward, after getting the hole shot and leading the first 4 laps, has had nothing but problems ever since.
Now the pace finally caught up to him, thanks to Langston. And Vaughn's pushing it a little bit as well. Fonseca's just holding his own here, but I don't think he feels comfortable going the speed of Langston out front. Second's a lot better than he did at Glen Helen. I think he's just trying to move up the ladder a little bit and establish a little confidence here outdoors.
Damon Huffman moving up into the top 10 in 9th. On that field summary is Bobby Bonds. Bobby is jumping some of the jumps that the other riders are not. Like up on the top of the course, after the big jump, there's a double. And he's making that very successful to make up time on Fonseca right now. Let's check in the mechanics area now. Davey Combs. Davey.
Mechanics, a very good ride by Bobby so far.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. Hopefully he can keep it together and finish strong.
How is his conditioning? We didn't get to see much of him last week at Glen Helen.
His conditioning's very good. We've been doing 40-minute motos every day, and he's really fit. So I think he'll be able to go strong until the end.
Well, the conditioning program really won't show itself right now. Boy, it's when you get into that second moto on a hot day like we've got in Sacramento that it really comes into play.
Yeah, you see the streamers there next to the track blowing a little bit. That breeze is really helping cool things off. But when you fall down like Larry Ward just did, or you come in from this moto and you sit still, the heat is just unbelievable. And you're right, Art, that second moto will be a physical test, although, you know, the track's not very rough, so it may not come into play here today.
Many of the teams have swimming pools, little portable swimming pools that they put ice in, that these riders between motos can go and get cooled off quickly.
That's the main thing today, is just keeping your core temperature down so you can recover better between motos.
Good encouragement for the Split Fire Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. Bobby Bonds putting the heat on. Ernesto Fonseca for second place.
Starting to get out of that main line. Sometimes that main groove that was one line at one time gets so rough, everyone starts to move out of it. That's what's happening now. They're finding traction somewhere else.
The battle is on for second place. Fonseca so far has been, whoa, Bobby Bonds finding a new jump. And now finds himself battling for second. Fonseca looks at him as Bonds goes by. Langston, Bonds, Fonseca are new order.
Well, he had jumped down the hill, tripled into the corner, put him on the outside, but the inside into that one, and Fonseca just had to let him have it. Probably didn't really mind, you know, if this was the end of the year, he'd fight for that a little bit more, but here he probably had something to learn from Bonds. Maybe that'll help him in the rest of the moto.
So the young lad from Bakersfield, California, changes the position, moving into second. We'll be back. Bailey and Davey Coombs back in the Hangtown Classic near Sacramento, California. Grant Langston continues to pull a lead here in the first 125 moto. But look at this. Travis Pastrana trying his darndest to get back up through the pack after a crash that wiped out about 15 riders, it looked like, in the second turn right after the start. Put him down to 31st position. By the halfway mark, he made it back to 20th, and right now is battling it out with another young man who was caught up in that same crash, Nick Way.
And he gets around him right there, but I thought that Travis took off before Nick Way did, so.
Oh, Danny Smith is down. The Team Suzuki rider out of the state of Idaho.
That's a scary place to go down. It's the high-speed part of the racetrack, and Travis is just riding around like an unmade bed. His jersey looks more like a sundress, the port guard hanging off.
Davey?
Andrew, what do you make of this Bonds kid at second?
He's riding really good. I watched him ride, and he's really fast, but he's giving it 110%. I think Grant's just sitting there in a pace, and if he passes Grant, we've still got a second motor, but Bonds is not in the points we are. We just got to finish up there every race, so whether we get third or second, we want to be there at the end of the day, and I think Grant can pick it up a notch or two if Bonds really puts him under pressure, so we'll see.
Andrew is Grant's uncle. He's the mechanic. Still says that Grant's got more to give.
Well, I can't wait to see that. He's given a lot already. And I'll tell you what, Travis has got to be panicking a little bit. And everyone in the Suzuki camp, the defending champion, 3-4 at the first round, while Grant goes 1-1. Here he is in the lead again, while Travis is still way back in the pack with everything hanging off his bike. This is where it's going to go. That championship, you can just peel a couple of those ones off of this one, and he'll have it for the next year.
Last year, Pastrana was 41 points down and came all the way back to win it in the last race.
Well, it will be entertaining, that's for sure, but I don't know if he can afford to be that far down against this Langston kid, because Langston looks a little bit more solid than Roncada was last year at the end.
There's a good battle going on. Kelly Smith, number 35 on the KTM, and Roderick Taine, the Frenchman on Team Suzuki. They're battling it out for fourth. Sean Palmer, what a great athlete overall he is, and he's having to sit out this round here in Sacramento after at Glen Helen. He was looking pretty smooth and then had that finger problem.
Yeah, I talked to him after the race, and his hand just looked gross. That didn't even bother him. He was just worried about all the training and all the time he put in. And I was really impressed with him in his qualifiers. A couple of fourths. He was riding smart. Of course, he didn't have the speed of the guys out front, but the top 10 wasn't out of the question, so that's got to be eating him alive right now.
Taine banging some plastic now with Kelly Smith. Here comes Taine on the downhill. Roderick Taine taking over fourth. See if Kelly can respond.
It looked like Kelly might have drifted a little wide the corner before. Couldn't do this double. Taine did, and that was that.
Taine improving with every race. His best was a fourth last year overall. I believe that was at Troy. The battle for the lead is getting tighter. We'll see if Langston can hold off Bobby Bonds when we return. Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross is brought to you by Suzuki, the reigning AMA 125 National Motocross and Arena Cross champion. Things start to tighten up for the battle for first place. Number 111, Grant Langston. Out of South Africa, and Bobby Bonds, they start rubbing. Bobby loses his balance slightly, but is still there in second place.
Man, this kid is aggressive. I didn't think there was any room right there, and he went in there anyway, but I guarantee you Langston knows he's there now and knows his intentions. There's the white flag.
Final lap of our first moto. Grant Langston, in his first year in GPs, rode a Kawasaki. He was in 35th. Then he went to KTM. They were trying to develop their champ team Holland team at that time. He took a 10th his second year in the GPs, and then he won it last year. And he has his mind set on winning this American Series this season.
Well, he has that little S-turn section dialed, too, because Bonds is right on him, and he just flew through those. His corner speed, or his exit speed, I should say, is just unbelievable.
Bonds has been able to pick up on him in this section right up here on the uphill side, but Langston makes time in the other areas of the track on him.
Well, Langston looks solid. Bonds, every once in a while, he's got a little bit of that Carmichael thing going on, but you know what? I'll hand it to him, man. He's trying as hard as he can, and he can see a win, and he's going to go for it. Who wouldn't? Especially a young kid.
Here's a section that Bonds particularly looks good in. Right there on that jump. If Langston hasn't had a 2-second lead in that portion right there, Bonds comes right up on his back tire.
See the wind picking up a little bit more now. That affects these guys on those big jumps.
Final lap of our first moto. It looks like Langston will make it 3 for 3.
Yeah, Langston, he's guarding that inside around all these corners. He doesn't need to because he's got enough of a cushion, but he's not leaving anything to chance.
I think the amazing thing about Grant Langston as well is he hasn't had much seat time on these tracks, and he's going to be looking at a lot of tracks throughout the season that he's never seen before.
Yeah, you know, that can be a disadvantage, having to relearn and get the bike set up for those. But on the other hand, you know, I think what I would focus on more if I were him is you can be a little more enthusiastic about being at a place for the first time ever. Be a little more excited, put more energy into it.
Leave one sharper, too, as he looks at the checkered flag. Grant Langston makes it 3 motos in a row to start the 2001 125 season. Bobby Bonds right there in second place. A great finish for Bobby. Fonseca will finish in third. Roderick Kane fourth. Kelly Smith rounding out the top 5. Damon Huffman coming all the way back to 6th. Let's go to Davey.
Well, Grant, we didn't even see you at the start of the Moto. Where did you end up off the gate?
I don't know. I think I was around 15th or something. I'm not too sure. But I got through as quickly as I could, and I knew I had to take the lead because I ran out of tear-offs, I pulled too many. And once I got in front, I had a slight gap, and Bobby was riding really, really well. And he closed up on me, and he made me push the whole way to the finish. And I didn't want to kind of kill myself in the first moto because it's still a second one, but it was a good race.
When you saw the Kawasaki behind you, were you surprised it was Bonds, not Brown?
I thought it was Brown at first, and I had 2 looks just to make sure, and then I saw on the pit board it was Bonds. So, he pushed real hard. He tried to make a pass to me just before the last lap, and I just managed to hold him off.
Right. Good ride. By the way, you have a modest little winning streak on right now, 3 motos in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I'd like to keep it going as long as possible.
Pastrana, incidentally, ended up in 9th. But here was the pressure that Bobby Bonds put on first place. Let's go back to Davey now, who's with Bobby.
Well, Bobby, I think it's safe to say that you have now arrived as a professional racer. That was a fantastic ride.
Yeah, sure wish I could have got him, though. I tried. It's a good turnaround from last week. Last week I wrecked 4 times in 2 motos. So I'm happy to stay up. Got a bad start, but I was pushing my way through and had a few mistakes and it took me down, but glad to be here.
Well, we were watching. There was a few times whenever you looked like you were making some rookie mistakes, but unlike what we saw in Supercross, you totally settled down. You got on it. You almost won that moto.
Yeah, I got real close on the last lap. And then, I don't know, just made a few mistakes on the last lap and lost him, but second's good for my first podium. I won my second national ever, so I'm pretty happy.
Well, your mechanic said you've been riding 40-minute motos. I think it showed. It's 100 degrees out here, and you look totally fresh at the end of the moto.
Yeah, it's quite warm out here, but it's pretty warm at my house, and that's what I trained for, and that's why I'm here.
Good ride.
Thank you.
Tim Ferry surprised us all with his very first 250 overall victory in the opening round. Can he do it again? We'll be right back. The 250s here near Sacramento, California at the Hangtown Classic. Stefan Roncada in his first full year in the 250s after getting a Supercross title last year in the 125s. Hey, John Dowd's going to be tired before the race starts trying to get that 520 4-stroke KTM going here at the gate. Ricky Carmichael anxiously awaits. And our Davey Coombs is down near those riders. Davey?
If you'd have picked one of a half dozen riders to win the opening round of the National Series last week at Glen Helen, it's very doubtful anyone would have said Tim Ferry, but that's just what the Yamaha factory rider did. It was his second national win of his career. First time he's done it since 1995, but here's the thing. He actually likes this track better. A long time ago at Hangtown, 1995 to be exact, he got his first ever national win here. Look for Ferry to be right up there again. This time, it won't be as big a surprise.
Tim Ferry only taking 1 kick to start that Yamaha 4-stroke. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Ricky Carmichael, Sebastian Tortelli once again in the hunt. Ryan Hughes is back with us on that 4-stroke, the new Honda machine. Mike LaRocco, the very consistent LaRocket. Tim Ferry, the winner of the opening round. Ron Cotta, Ezra Lusk as we look down the rest of the starting grid. David Villeman looking smooth at times, hoping to put one together here today in Sacramento. Villeman, last year's winner here at Sacramento with a 2-2 in the Moto performances. That led to his very first victory the next week as we take a look at the rest of the Suzuki starting grid. All of these riders with the hopes of once again creating an upset like the first round, and Tim Ferry was able to do because the air of dominance for Ricky Carmichael has been halted, at least for the time being. That season's opener broke a long string of victories, including Supercross, U.S. Open. Here's the first turn, that lighter bike getting the advantage over the 4-strokes, but then look what happened. He went over the hay bales down a steep incline, and in order to return to the track, he had to go back and go through turn 1 again. Meanwhile, out in front, Tim Ferry, a little bobble, stalled the bike. Tortelli gets around him. David Villeman, his teammate on Yamaha, protecting his backside. He retained second and therefore still got the overall.
Yeah, I kind of messed up there. Like Arthur got the 2-lap board and stalled it. And
I came pretty close to catching him the last couple laps, but I kind of just ran out of time. Maybe another lap or so. Maybe we would have had a shot at passing him back, but second was still a good way to start off the season, I think.
Well, second place is giving him the overall victory, his very first 250 overall win, and the lead on the Suzuki points board. But it's tightly cropped, as you can see. Riders on that cement pad getting ready for the start of our first moto.
A lot of guys with a great chance of winning this championship. There's one right there. Barry, look at Tortelli lighting it up.
Tortelli 13, Wyndham 14, Carmichael 4, number 120, that's Ryan Hughes. Next to Ryan, Stefan Roncada, number 21, as we get set to go. Off and running. A great start by Ryan Hughes. He gets the whole shot on the new Honda 4-stroke. Number 120 is out in front. Villeman also with a good start. Wyndham a good start, but where is Tim Ferry and Ricky Carmichael? They're mid-pack.
You can see right away that Carmichael just got a terrible jump off the gate.
Here's Villeman. He's challenging Rhino. David Villeman all of a sudden very quickly takes over the lead.
It's the same thing he did last week with the first round. Ryan out in front. Once Ricky went down the hill, Villeman quickly into the lead and started to pull away until he got a flat tire. So that really ruined his chances. Here he has the same opportunity again.
David Villeman trying to pull a lead immediately. Ryan Hughes still in second place. Not a bad start for LaRocco this time around.
There goes Ricky. That's safe to say he's mid-pack. Long ways to go. Get up there with the contenders.
Might emphasize right now that the defending champion chose not to run this year with the number 1 plate, but instead with his traditional number 4 plate.
But Villeman is just so awesome at picking the best lines. Right away, you know, Brock Glover used to really impress me with the way he could go out in the first lap of a race and be just as fast. Oh, no.
Ryan Hughes slips out. Now the question is, can he get that 4-stroke started quickly?
Now he's got to go to neutral. There goes his teammate Lusk around. First, he's going to be last before he gets going, Art. Going back to Villeman and his line choice in the first lap. So they've watered the track a little bit, just like they did for the 125 moto. Villeman is just awesome at finding the most traction, squaring things off, getting real creative out there so he doesn't really have to slip and slide around out there very much.
There you see Carmichael battling back from double digits. He's got Ezra Lusk in front of him. But out in front, David Villeman trying to hold off now. A very determined Kevin Wyndham on Team Suzuki. Wyndham is also good in the slick stuff. We'll be right back with more Moto 1 action of the 250s right here at the Hangtown Classic.
Going through the corner. A little bit slick. Watch Ryan right behind him. Doesn't have quite the same luck. Front end wash is out. Wyndham wasn't following, so he's able to get right by him. And now Ryan's got to come from almost last place.
Well, that replay showing number 14, Wyndham, also having problems through that corner, but controlling. Here's the battle between LaRocco and John Dowd. Mike LaRocco and number 17, Robbie Raynard into the play.
Dowd's probably wondering, hey, what'd I do wrong? Didn't look like he went through there that slow. It was just LaRocco out-braked him into the face of the jump. Kind of opened the door for Raynard as well, who had a smarter line there on the outside.
Number 934, David Villeman. Boy, what a job he did here last year with 2 second-place motos taking the overall victory. And Mike LaRocco in fourth. Despite 11 career 250 victories, LaRocco has never won here in his long, distinguished career.
I'll tell you what, the way he rode some of the Supercrosses this year, I really thought that he was going to be a bigger factor outdoors than he's been so far. I know it's only round 2, and he's going fast, but, you know, the lead of the race is getting away from him.
That's right. For the 3rd consecutive year, he ended up 3rd in the points race in Supercross. But it was really more impressive, I thought, on the track than those statistics show.
Yeah, LaRocco's starts actually improved quite a bit in the Supercross, but, you know, he hasn't been able to bring that outdoors with him. Raynard right now is hanging right with him.
Whoa! That was Tim Ferry colliding with Roncada. Roncada to the far side. And Ferry was saved, really, by that fencing. There's John Dowd also getting mixed up, coming in from behind.
We'll see how quickly Ferry can get going again. Grabbing that compression release a little bit, looks like.
A bad break for last week's winner, Tim Ferry, colliding with Roncada. Let's get Davey Coombs' viewpoint.
Guys, there was a big crash down here at the finish line. You might have seen Tim Ferry in the fence. That's Stefan Roncada, the factory Kawasaki rider. They watered the track here after the 125 motor. It was pretty slick. Apparently someone got a little loose. John Dowd and Tim Ferry came all the way out to the fence. You can see Roncada went in the infield. This looks like his day's definitely over. And you know what? He just got off an ankle injury.
Well, watch what happens. Roncada's line and Ferry's line right there behind Dowd are going to come together on the jump. Nothing they could do about it. They didn't mean it. So when Ferry goes into the corner, it hits the back of Dowd. That's what knocked Dowd there, and it sent Ferry into the fencing. When he grabbed a handful of throttle, if you grab a handful of that 426, it takes off.
Villeman's got a battle on his hands now. Kevin Windham. And there you have Sebastian Tortelli on the team Honda, 1, 2, and 3. Here comes Windham. He used a similar leaping move that Bobby Bonds used in the 125 up top there.
Oh, what a great battle. Windham's a French sandwich right now. The French didn't fare well in the Supercross season this year, but, man, they're picking it up outdoors.
Kevin Windham looking serious about taking the lead away from Villeman right now as they come over the jump. Villeman looks to his side. And Windham's got the angle on the inside. So Kevin Windham, our new leader. Villeman in second. What's Tortelli going to do about it?
I think he's going to let these guys settle themselves out a little bit, see their strengths and weaknesses, figure out where all the good passing places are. And you're looking at right now, Villeman, last year's winner, Kevin Windham, the 99 winner. These guys got the place wired.
Kevin Windham loves this track. He not only won in 99, but he took a second place last year here, winning a moto, second moto of the day. Tortelli starting to make a move on Villeman right now. Sebastian Tortelli saying, I want to be a little more aggressive than I was at Glen Helen. I was kind of feeling things out. He says, I've got to perform. And there's the pass.
That was aggressive, all right. Good thing Villeman was nice and let him in there, because that could have been another collision. Tortelli went in there completely committed at high speed. Good thing Villeman knew that was coming and backed out of it a little bit. And the funny thing about all three of these guys is none of them really shined much in the Supercross season this year. I think everybody, including Kevin, expected a little more out of them from the Supercross series. And Tortelli's definitely had the experience. So did Villeman. They all came in there with high expectations. Didn't do that well, but, man, look at this.
A unique form of the sport, though, is that you get right out of the Supercross season, right into the motocross season. Refreshing for some, that's for sure. Our leader, Kevin Windham, Tortelli, and Villeman, the top three, will be back. Town Classic near Sacramento. Kevin Windham, our leader, but he's got Sebastian Tortelli right on his tail. As you said, David, Kevin's been impressive so far this year, coming off that Supercross season with lots of frustration behind him. And now he's got to fend off Tortelli. Tortelli to the inside. Whoa, dangerously rubbing plastic.
Oh.
And Kevin Windham had to go off the track after they collided. He is back on now, but Tortelli's the new leader.
Yeah, I think they're going to give that to him. Villeman got around too, and I think Kevin just went ahead and just let that happen. This is what I was worried about before when Tortelli came on the inside of Villeman. Villeman was ready. Kevin wasn't. It's all squirrely. Now watch, he's going to have to go to the inside of a hay bale here. Can't get back onto the regular part of the track, so he just goes, all right, I'll just stay over here, let these guys pass me, and then jump back into the race. I think the officials are going to let that ride.
So Villeman goes back into second place. Ricky Carmichael now has moved all the way up to fifth. That's an impressive ride, and it sets the scene for a terrific finish to this moto.
Well, consider that, you know, Villeman's just right up in front of Windham right there, just coming out of that corner there.
And then LaRocco right behind Windham, and RC is on LaRocco's tail.
So LaRocco and Carmichael are probably going a little bit faster than that lead group, and I thought that lead group was pushing pretty hard.
Carmichael really pushing the envelope. He had 9 victories last year getting the title. Let's go down and hear from his mechanic.
Chad, we saw Ricky get off to an awful start, but I got to tell you, he might be the fastest guy out there after 10 minutes.
Yeah, he came out like 35th, and he's in 5th right now, and actually his lap time was about a second and a half faster than the guys up front. And it's not halfway. I ain't making no prediction, but he's cut the gap from like 20-some seconds to 8th.
Are you telling him how far he's behind the guy right in front of him, or how far he's behind the leader?
The leader, because Larocco's right in the front of him right now, so that's more important.
Can't forget that Moto last week when he went off the track and came back and passed 13 riders in the next lap, and then was gaining 2 seconds on the leader for 2 laps after that.
He has caught this pack. Larocco has too. I mean, Larocco's held Ricky back there.
Larocco to the inside. Larocco poured it on against Wyndham. And Mike Larocco moves into 3rd.
Carmichael's right there for the leftovers. Wyndham just eases off a little bit to try to regroup. Carmichael will have him. He might have both these guys.
Tortelli, Villeman, Larocco, Wyndham, and Ricky Carmichael, the top 5 in our field summary. Well, Carmichael has just been blistering. Now he's got to use some strategy to get around Wyndham. Shows him a wheel. Look at the roost coming from these bikes.
I'll tell you what, Art, this is the most talented and aggressive top 5 I've ever seen in motocross. Look at this pass. Larocco just gets a wheel to the inside of Wyndham and just forces Wyndham to have to lean out and take that second berm. Larocco's not messing around. He's trying to get Wyndham between himself and Carmichael, get that number 4 off the back.
It's like the Larocco of old when he really used a lot of body and machine contact. Here comes Carmichael now. He's trying to pass Wyndham. Wyndham's got the target on his back, and look at that leaping move by Wyndham to save the spot.
Over the Davy Coombs double. I think we should call it that from now on. Look at Ricky just swapping down the hill, lands right in the braking bump, back on the power. The kid is so strong and confident. He doesn't care what kind of a bump he hits, whether he's in the berm or not. He's just pinned. Whatever's the fastest way, that's what he does. Look at this right here. After Wyndham kind of shoved him wide, he seat bounces to try to get over that double. It ain't pretty, but he didn't lose any time. There it is again, almost missing that, or hitting that hay bale there. Seat bounces the double just to be able to get over it, front end high.
Wyndham coming off a 3rd place finish last week. Carmichael, an overall 4th place. These guys are still very much in the championship hunt. And look out for Carmichael. Good, quick, on the brakes, on the power for Carmichael. And Carmichael moves into 4th place.
Is he using the brakes? It doesn't look like it. Man, he is just pinned everywhere. Reaches over to readjust the clutch right there. Listen to that. I mean, the back wheel doesn't barely get set in the berm, and he's already wide open.
How far can Carmichael go up the ladder? Well, it's 2 Frenchmen out in front. We'll be back. Welcome back for our opening 250 Moto from near Sacramento. Ricky Carmichael coming from mid-pack is really pouring it on. For more insight, out of the pits, Racer X's Davey Coombs.
For this week's Kawasaki bike setup on a very hot, very complicated Hangtown track, we decided to go to Chad Watts, Ricky Carmichael's mechanic. Chad, what do you got going for Ricky this week?
Well, due to the temperature here, the bike's going to run hot late in the moto, so we're going to compensate by running just a little bit richer jetting, so give it more fuel and keep the bike from detonating and overheating late in the moto.
What are you going to do for tire selection?
From an intermediate to a hard terrain tire, because there's not as much sand here this year as there was last year.
How about your gearing?
The way our bike is set up internally, we're able to run a small 2-sprocket, but it has a broad power band at the same time.
Finally, with the Supercross obstacles here, do you change the suspension settings at all?
Not really, because all the braking bumps you want to be flush. The doubles are nothing huge, so it's just kind of come out of the corner, just a little gas in 2nd gear and land, and then you got a lot of braking bumps, so you want to compensate by making it really soft on high speed.
All right, we'll see how it works out this week for Chad Watts, this week's Kawasaki bike setup.
RC not making the podium last week. That was the first time in an AMA-sanctioned race since May 12th of last year. We're talking Supercross, Motocross, Motocross the Nations, everything. Battle for 2nd place is on right now. Villeman trying to hold him off. And, Carmichael's gone down.
Guys, check it out. Ricky Carmichael fell down. Same thing happened to him last week at his first moto charge. He went down. That time he only lost a pass to Kevin Windham, but he's definitely not going to get after the podium, guys.
Right now, LaRocco is starting to give David Villeman some real problems. LaRocco is the winningest active rider in 250 motocross today with 11 victories and, of course, 1 championship. He's got a 500 championship under his belt as well as the 250s. Right now, he's looking for second place and his best finish in a moto this season.
These guys are both leading the contest for who can run their bars the highest and their levers the highest. I mean, watch these guys when they go through a corner. It's like they're riding a chopper with those big ape hanger bars on them. I mean, these things are so high, their levers are so high, you have no trouble picking them out on the track.
Our field summary will cover the top 20, so check out your favorite rider as LaRocco tries to pursue David Villeman. David, did you see on that leaderboard Ryan Hughes, who stalled the bike out? He was like 40th. He's back to 10th.
A good ride for Ryan on a track that a lot of guys are talking about hard to pass.
LaRocco right now, as Villeman looks back, almost like something's wrong with his bike or something, as LaRocco makes it look easy.
Yeah, it did look like Villeman just gave him that inside. Didn't look like he put up much of a fight at all.
So 2 Hondas are leading our opening 250 moto. Tortelli's got a pretty good lead on Mike LaRocco. LaRocco, though, with a reputation of pouring it on, coming from behind.
Yeah, watch this again. Villeman looks over. I think he just realized he went too wide, and, well, shoot, you know, you can have it. Looks back to make sure. Probably wonder, where's that number 4? I doubt if he knew what happened to Carmichael, but he's probably glad to see that gap back there. This is the kind of performance I was talking about from LaRocco. In the first part of the moto, it was just bothering me that he wasn't up there. It didn't look like he was going to get there, and Carmichael was catching him. That may have lit the fire for him, though, because he really has put on a strong charge. I don't think he's going to get Tortelli, but it's a good ride for Honda.
Here's a look at Travis Preston, who gave Husqvarna its very first American Supercross win earlier this year at Houston. He was running a strong second. He was at the right place at the right time when Langston went down, giving Signor Ferracci his crew's first win. The good thing about his performance in Supercross was that he failed to qualify in the first round. Then in the second race, he was 17th, then 11th, then 10th, then 9th. He also had a very impressive 4th place in the 125 shootout in Las Vegas. As we go to the final lap now, Sebastian Tortelli's got him feeling good right about now.
Well, that was a bummer second moto for him at Glen Helen in the opener. Otherwise, might have had that overall, but picking up where he left off in the first moto there. Another first moto win if he can keep it up right here. And Tortelli, I'll tell you what, Art, I talked about it. I talked about it on Moto World. I just said, you know, I don't think this guy's coming into the outdoor season with the kind of confidence he needs to beat Carmichael. But so far, Carmichael hasn't really been the guy. He's been the one making the mistakes. And Tortelli looks really confident and solid here.
Last year, he had 5 moto wins. He's already going to get his second moto win in the first 2 events. He has 2 career wins already. Buchanan last year. In fact, that was part of a French sweep on Independence Day, if you might remember. And then Glen Helen back in '99. So a win here in the opening moto would really put him in a great position for another overall victory. The checkers are waving. Sebastian Tortelli celebrates a little bit after he comes off the jump with a great moto win. It was Tortelli, Mike LaRocco, David Villeman in the top 3. A very commendable performance by Windham and Carmichael. Kyle Lewis, his best moto of the year, in 6th place. Let's go to Davey with our winner.
Sebastian, congratulations on your second moto win of the year, and man, that was a hot one.
Yeah, you know, it's very warm out here, and, you know, it's tough. And, you know, I get a really good jump. You know, my bike is working out, so, you know, I get out of the concrete perfect. And, you know, I just did my race. You know, when I get on the lead, I push a little bit, kind of get breakaway. And, you know, I know it's very hot, so I want to get some reserve for the second moto. So, you know, after that, I ride a slower pace, just, you know, to keep in good shape and be ready for the second moto.
What about the pass on Windham for the lead? That was pretty spectacular.
You know, I was having the inside, so, you know, that was better for me. And, you know, I kind of pushed it, and
and just, you know, he wanted to push me back. And, you know, since I had the inside, I didn't have any reason to shut up, so he went out of the track.
How do you feel for the second motor? Do you have a lot left?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for it. You know, I've been training a lot with Jeff Spencer and, you know, my trainer, Yannick Cavalla, and I'm in great shape. You know, just feeling ready for this outdoor season.
Good ride, Sebastian.
Thank you.
For Mike LaRocco, it was the 8th race last year before he got his first podium. Well, he's off to a good start this season, which is his 15th year in 250 motocross. Let's go back to Davey now, who's with Mike LaRocco. Davey?
Well, Mike, that was another Ironman performance. You just ran out of time.
Yeah, I got up, actually I got off the gate good, and I pulled up there, but there was a couple of four-strokes that shut the door on me, so I had my work cut off for me early, and I will say it's hot out there, but managed to get my Amsoil Honda, which was working great all the way up to second, so see what happens second round.
Your mechanic, Paul, said you guys are treating this like a whole new season. The Supercross Series, top 3, but you're going after a title now.
I mean, everybody keeps telling me this is my forte, and I guess I got to remember that it is and step it up and try and get some wins.
Good ride in this first moto.
Thanks a lot.
Well, meanwhile, the 125 riders are going to the gate, getting ready for their second moto. Can Grant Langston make it 4 out of 4 in the first 4 motos of the season? We'll be right back. Riders at the gate getting ready for their second moto. There's number 20, Damon Huffman. And also on the cement starting pad is number 1, the defending champion, Team Suzuki's Travis Pastrana. Back in 1994, Suzuki's stable of 125 riders included 2 young guns named Damon Huffman and Ezra Lusk. At the Hangtown Classic that year, Lusk grabbed the early lead in Moto 1 while Huffman made his way through the pack to 4th. In the end, it was Lusk taking the checkers ahead of his Suzuki teammate in Moto 1. In Moto 2, the roles would be reversed. Defending champion Doug Henry got the whole shot. But Huffman stormed out in front, putting the pass on Henry. Huffman wheelies to the checkers, but the overall would still be up for grabs as number 20 crosses the finish line. Lusk, meanwhile, pressed on, fighting with Henry to move up a spot. The aggressiveness cost him as he crashes 1 turn away from the finish line, giving the 1994 Hangtown Classic title to his teammate, number 20, Damon Huffman. As we get set for the second moto, number 20, you see him right there, this time on a Yamaha, and we're off and running. Keith Johnson on a Yamaha gets the whole shot. Big surprise. He was on a Cannondale last year.
Travis getting hung up in the first corner. There's Andrew Short.
And number 43, Michael Brandis, takes the lead away from Johnson.
Brandis just might be the fastest rider in the world for a half a lap. I've seen this guy get out front and just ride like unbelievable. Just pull away from him. I don't care who's back there. But he needs to try to stay in the race a little longer. I don't mean to harp on him, but that's happened several times. He knows it. This guy's unbelievable. Look at the lead he has already.
Glenn Helen, he got the whole shot, led for 2 laps, and then a crash in the 3rd lap. He was all the way to 36th. Brandis on the YZ250F, though. It's got lots of power. He can keep it up on 2 wheels. He's got a good moto going for him.
Looks like he's out there all by himself.
Brandis out of action since the opening of Supercross in January. Missed the entire Supercross season virtually.
Now that's a lead. It's not like he got the whole shot. There's a bunch of privateers back there behind him. That's Fonseca in second. He isn't joking around. 3rd in the first moto. Tell you what, if Brandis could figure out how to ride this fast the whole race, we'd be looking at him a lot more.
He had the fastest lap of Moto number 1 last week at Glen Helen. But as you mentioned, it didn't last long. Look at the infighting behind Brandis.
That's Langston. Bumping. Looks like Bobby Bonds.
It is Bobby Bonds, number 129.
That kid's aggressive. I'll hand him that. Reminds me of a young Ricky Carmichael riding for that split fire team. Same kind of style, just going as fast as you can go, all heart.
Keith Johnson still holding pretty good in 3rd. He was the top privateer with a 5th place finish at Glen Helen last week. And he's the only Keith Johnson that's not from New Mexico. He hails from Massachusetts. We've got 3 Keith Johnsons participating in motocross this year.
Larry Ward just went by with his jersey flapping, trying to keep cool.
Bobby Bonds, number 129, is still knocking at the door. A good idea of the speed coming off this little jump. We'll return right after these words. David Bailey, Davey Coombs, coming your way from Sacramento, California. It's the second moto for the 125s, and a real battle going on for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Bonds in 3rd, Johnson in 4th, Ward in 5th, and Langston in 6th.
Langston really trying to push the pace here, trying to get around Ward.
Ward looked like he was in a sandwich right there. Langston gets by 2 riders in the same move. Brent Langston poured it on. He wants to get up back now toward Bobby Bonds.
There goes Ward. He's experienced enough to know that if he can hitch a ride with Langston up through the pack, that should land him pretty high at the end of the moto.
Larry Ward trying to make up for some bad luck in that first moto. Having a good season, though. Let's go down to Davey in the mechanics area.
You guys look here. Mike Brown's got a tailboard brake. You can see him pushing the number 100 Split Fire Pro Circuit Kawasaki off the track. Second last week, involved in a first turn crash here in the first moto. Now you see his days come to a very sudden end here at the start of the second moto. Tough break for Mike Brown.
Boy, tough break is an understatement. Almost a disastrous break for Mike Brown, who had a 38 in the first moto after that first turn pileup, and now he might be around the same position in the second moto. Take him right out of the points. Only in the second round. Hold on to your hats. Split Fire Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Bobby Bonds is on the move. He's making the challenge at number 25, Ernesto Fonseca, for second place. Brandis is still our leader. Bonds has moved into second. Here comes Fonseca back again. Bonds, though, going to the best part of the track for him.
That's just like the first moto. These guys battling it out. Bonds getting his way, working his way around, but that outside line that Fonseca has at the bottom of the downhill was working the first moto. This time, Bonds was a little bit quicker to get into the inside and cut off the line. Guess who joined the party?
Right there, number 111, Grant Langston. He'll be the next to hound Fonseca. You're looking at the overall right here.
Yeah, that's first, second, and third right there. Not necessarily in that order, but how this plays out right here, because Brandis won't figure into that picture since he didn't finish up to the first moto. He's still got a pretty comfortable lead over these guys, so you know he's flying. You can hear him. He already went by. And these guys are moving. Tells you how fast Brandis is going out front.
For those new viewers, these motocrossers go 30 minutes on the clock and then 2 laps beyond that. Fonseca trying to hold Bonds off.
Well, I didn't think I would see that. That Bonds just a little bit too aggressive. See, Ernesto, the thing about him that I've noticed is you watch him in Supercross, and the guy's awesome. He's very precise. Reminds me a little bit of the way that I used to ride. And I had a hard time hanging it out and riding a little bit on the edge, letting the bike swap around the way that Bonds is able to ride, the way Carmichael rides in the 250 class, and surprises me a little bit to see Fonseca fight back around Bonds.
There you see Brandis. Could this be the race that he's been looking for some time?
Well, he's won before. The guy's definitely got the speed, but just hasn't been consistent up front enough. And, you know, when you're not up there a lot, and you do get that opportunity, you ride a little bit more nervous, worry about what's going on back there instead of just riding your best. He's definitely good enough to win the race, but I think the pressure, he's going to start feeling it because these guys are closing in.
Bonds just looking for an opportunity. Boy, they almost touched his back rubber there.
Here comes his favorite spot. If Fonseca goes wide, I won't believe it. And there he goes. He ducks to the inside. Smart. That outside isn't working anymore the second moto.
Fonseca showing us good 4-stroke power coming up the hill. But look at the way Bonds leaps right onto his back tire.
This is the part that scares me. It's not the double going up the hill. It's coming down the hill into those ruts and breaking. Look at the smoke.
Did Bonds break it all? Whoa, Fonseca, his engine is gone.
Oh, that's just Boy, you don't see that very often anymore. Well, actually, we just did with Brown, but it's rare these days in motocross to see a DNF, but that bike is fairly new. They're able to experiment with it a little bit. Who knows what's going on in that motor, but they're going to pay the price this moto.
There's Steve Lamson. He's riding still with a sore ribs after that horrendous crash where he got hit at least by 2 bikes, maybe 3, in that first opening moto. So Pastrana doesn't have to work too hard getting by the former 2-time 125 motocross champion. Lamson winning in 95 and 96 the titles. Pastrana winning his very first title last year. But he's got his work cut out for him this season with another slow start.
Well, luckily, Langston isn't leading again. If that were the case, it would be a disaster. We can't afford to be back here in the pack with Langston winning all the motos. He'll be 40 points down like it was last year before they even get halfway through the series.
Pastrana, though, is starting to put it on. Our Suzuki trivia question: name the last 250 Suzuki rider to win at Hangtown. Let's finish up the Suzuki trivia question. Name the last 250 Suzuki rider to win at Hangtown. And the answer, Greg Albertine. It was his second 250 motocross win. Of course, that was 97. In 99, he took it all. Won the championship.
Albertine using the 111 like Langston, South Africa, all that. How about these South Africans going fast here at Hangtown? Langston's still not out of it.
I'll tell you right now, Pastrana's bringing the crowd alive. On the downhill, he passes Sellers. Pastrana with a 37th in the first moto here last year. But it still didn't put him out of the championship as he came roaring back.
You know what really impressed me was that second moto when he came from so far behind, about last, riding with that cast. His hand was bleeding. He threw the glove off midway through the race and reeled everybody in. I think Lamson won the moto, but I could see right there that he had what he needed to win the championship, that ability to dig no matter how bad it hurts.
It was at Southwick last year that he started a terrific string of podium and wins. Michael Brandis trying to hold off Bobby Bonds. We've got the battle for the lead going on, and look at that's Langston right behind him. Bonds with great speed.
Whoa, that was a little nosedive. That could have been ugly. I'll tell you what, Bonds is going to that corner faster than anybody, any of the 250s.
Let's go down to Davey in the mechanics area.
Guys, check out number 6, Steve Lamson. He was your Hangtown winner last year. He's riding around slowly. The first motor, he suffered that big crash in DNF. Now it looks like he's pulled out. He was in a top 10 ride. It's just not working out for Steve Lamson this time around.
Can only withstand so much pain, that's for sure, as he got hit hard in that rib area. Here's number 43, Brandis, trying now to hold on to second place. Grant Langston, who won the first moto, wants to take this second place so he can start working on Bobby Bonds, the leader.
You can see how close they are to Bonds. So the overall, look at Brandis just blocking him out. Good line. He's fighting for this. He's not just going, yeah, I led it a while. These guys, they're a little faster than I am. I'll let them go. He's fighting for that. I respect that. But Langston and Bonds, the overall is between them. What a move.
Oh, incredible braking move and then accelerating on the inside.
Looked like Brandis might have been trying to guess, hold up Langston in that corner up there, and Langston just had it figured out, made a beeline out of there. Now he's got his no interruptions. He can get right up there to Bonds and battle for the lead and the overall.
Larry Ward holding true there in 7th place.
Pretty true. Jessamine just stuffed him a little bit. I'll tell you what, Art, it is so hot. These guys in the slower corners, never forget the hot races they used to ride. You come into a corner where it's just a sharp 180-degree corner, and you don't have that breeze blowing on you, and it feels like a furnace. These guys have really got to be feeling it now towards the end of the second moto.
Larry Ward, number 10 in 8th, and right behind him is Danny Smith, number 29, and then Kelly Smith, number 35 on the KTM. Danny Smith, Team Suzuki, trying to make up for that 17th place in the first moto where he went down. He's a tough little competitor.
You know that he had been exposed to Bob Hanna early on in his career. I mean, it's still early in his career, but earlier than now. He's got good work ethic. He tries hard. He's always got a lot of energy when we interview him, man. He just fits a lot of words in there. He's an enthusiastic character, and I have a feeling he's going to be around a while. He's got a great technique.
Well, remember when he came back for the Supercross season after being injured, he came back a lot stronger this year. Here's Bobby Bonds, our leader. And look at this. Grant Langston has just been playing on the edge of the envelope all the way. Now is where endurance really plays a part.
Yeah, these guys are feeling the heat. Well, I take it back. Langston's going into that corner just as fast as Bonds. These guys are on another level right now. They look like the 250s out there. I bet you their lap times aren't far off. Really pushing hard because it's for the overall. Can you imagine Bonds if he wins this thing? I can just see it now. His parents, Mitch Payton. That'd be a huge victory for Langston to just be, you know, hey, he won last week. Let's just be continuing on doing what he did.
For those new viewers, with Langston winning the first moto and Bobby Bonds taking the second, if Bonds reverses that order, he would get the overall trophy, winning the last moto.
That breaks the tie. These guys are going after it. This is what you love to see. You want to see it come down to this, where it's a physical battle, a mental battle, the guy that makes the fewest mistakes. Right now, it's all it's going to take is one. Here's that corner that Langston's got wired.
And Bonds blocks him. Almost came to a stop at the end. Here comes Langston down the hill. Look out. I'm not sure he liked that block. He moves in front of him, and Bonds didn't react very quickly to it. He goes down. Looks like he might be hurt. It's a bad place to crash coming off that hill. Look out.
Well, Langston looks over. It looks like he's making sure he's got enough room, but then it kind of looks like he's just going, hey.
I'll block you.
Yeah, take that. I don't think he appreciated what went on at the top of the hill.
And Mitch Payton sees a promising afternoon go up in flames.
I don't think he's had. I mean, he watched Brown's chance for the title just about disappear. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back from 238, and now the overall's gone.
Well, with Bonds going down, that gives a big break to Travis Pastrana. Will return. So quite a turn of events as we rejoin the 125s. Grant Langston on his final lap after the crash with Bonds. His main competitor hitting the dirt hard. Langston has got this one wrapped up. Langston looks like will be the first foreign rider to win back-to-back 125 nationals since Jean-Michel Bayle all the way back in 1990. He takes the checkered flag. Grant Langston is now 4 for 4 on the young season. Langston on the KTM. Travis Pastrana taking advantage of the brakes, moving into second. Brock Sellards, he takes a well-deserved third. Scott Sheik a fourth. A good ride for him. Let's go to Davey with the winner.
Grant, congratulations. You got yourself another Moto win, another overall, but wow, what happened with Bobby Bonds?
I mean, we were having a good fight, and, you know, I tried to pass him, and he was just kind of jerking around with me, putting me into the fence and that. And when I tried to pass him, you know, I cut him off. I didn't mean to put the guy down, but unfortunately we bumped, and I saw that he went down, and, you know, sorry to him. But, you know, it was a good race. He was riding really, really quick, and he made me push it the whole motor.
We got to tell you, last week when you went out and won the opener, a lot of people were really pleasantly surprised. This week, man, you're dominating this class right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 rounds, and, you know, luckily I've had 4 good motos, and, you know, obviously the luck's with me, but, you know, anything could happen. The team's done a fantastic job, Red Bull KTM, and my mechanic Andrew, and everyone's done a great job, and I've been working with my new trainer John, and it's, you know, really paid off because fitness on a hot day like today is crucial.
Now the series goes back east, back to Travis Pastrana's area. Are you looking forward to getting him on his home tracks?
Not really. No, Travis is really fast, and from what I hear, he goes real quick back east, so it's going to be real close. Definitely.
Congratulations. Fantastic win for you and KTM.
Thank you very much.
A great day to have the top brass of Red Bull KTM on the scene as Langston takes his 2nd overall victory. Pastrana all the way to 2nd overall. Let's hear from him.
Well, Travis, you are the last guy I expect in the winner's circle after what happened in the first turn. Man, you had terrible starts all day.
Yeah, well, I'm still doing better than last year. Avoided a DNF here, and now we're going back to the East Coast. Mount Morris, everything, Southwick, Budge Creek. Really excited, but, you know, Grant riding phenomenally. I mean, he got a bad start that second Moto 2, was able to come up. Bobby Bonds, unbelievable. The kid finally, you know, lived up to what some people were expecting him coming in, and he's going to be tough throughout the rest of the season. So I'm looking forward to a great year, and and don't count me out yet. I got the number one plate for a reason, and man, the Team Suzuki and Michelin, everybody's really backing me, so it's going to be a great year.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to count you out. You're actually doing much better than you did last year. You had a 3-4 at the opener last year, just as you did this year. Then you came here and you got a DNF. This time you go 9-2, a lot better.
Yeah, DNF 2, 9-2. The DNF here was the worst moto I had last year, so hopefully that'll be the same as this year. But, Jeff, definitely have a lot of support this year, and just, I'm not too down right now going back to the East Coast, so I'd just like to thank everyone for still cheering me on.
Very hard ride, both of them.
Hey, thanks a lot, Davey. Oh, wait, 2 first-turn pile-ups, yeah, and I wrecked 3 times in the first 2 laps of the first moto, so not too bad for that. But hopefully I'll stay on 2 wheels and just get this working a little bit better later. Thank you.
The never-give-up attitude of Travis Pastrana, the Suzuki point standings, but look at, he's 28 points down to the South African Grant Langston. He's made up worse in the past. The 250's coming up next. Lawrence of, no, that's Ryan Hughes. Hey, we'll be right back with the action after this. Pump of the season's opener, Ryan Hughes is getting great starts as the test pilot of the new Honda 4-stroke. This week's Honda Profile, Part 2, the life of Honda rider Ryan Hughes.
Coming back was it was kind of forced, I planned on staying over there, but I had some problems within the team, which I didn't get paid. And so, I came back here, started talking to some people, Suzuki and Honda, and see if I could, possibly come back and, get a ride and race over here. And Honda came to me with the opportunity to test a new 4-stroke and race the Nationals. And I was like, yeah, all right. I get to stay home, understand the language, eat all the food I like, and don't have to be in a motorhome every day. And, so it wasn't that hard of a decision to make. If I had to do it again, I'd probably do the same thing because I learned so much about myself and about life and about racing and about, just how lucky I am and people are that live in America. And, so for me, if I, like I say, if I had to do it again, it wouldn't be a problem. But, it is good to be back. It's difficult with a wife and a kid over there because it's constant attention because there's nothing else for them to do. There's no friends for them. There's nothing fun for them to do. At least for me, I had training and riding, and I went over there just for a job. But so it wasn't a bad experience. We had fun, and actually, we have a lot more funnier stories about over there than we do racing the Nationals here. So now I got a little closer to things, and it makes it a lot easier. I can just hop to the store, hop here, hop there, and then if Evander wants to go anywhere, it's easy for that too. So that makes it easy, and we're happy where we're at.
Ryan Hughes is getting ready for the second moto for the 250s, along with number 5, Mike LaRocco, and number 14, Kevin Windham. Both of those riders have been riding well. Here in the early going as we get set, the 32nd board is now going up. As you see, Tim Ferry, number 15, all kinds of hard luck in that first moto. Carmichael is looking for the first win of the day. Off and running. Tim Ferry clearly gets the whole shot here in the second moto. Windham is right there. So is Billiman. Windham, number 14 on the Suzuki. He takes the lead away from Ferry.
I talked about how good that Suzuki sounded at Glen Helen. Well, that's what I'm talking about. He just outran Tim Ferry on the 426.
When I was talking with the mechanics earlier, they were saying that the 125s, they found a lot more horsepower in the Suzukis. Well, I think it's obvious they found it for the 250 as well.
Obviously. And, of course, Billiman gets around, too, but that was a little bit more of a technique. A much better start this time for Carmichael. Watch Billiman. Goes to the outside. That was the line that he learned from Tortelli the first moto. Just kind of blocked past his Ferry right there.
Tortelli's not far away. He's right next to Carmichael. But right now, it's Kevin Windham out in front. 2 Yamahas, second and third now.
All these guys really have a habit these days, and sometimes it actually works. They have a habit of really throwing that bike sideways as they go off jumps, try to stay lower to the ground.
Here's Ricky Carmichael in sixth. It was my mistake because It is Ryan Hughes in 5th, right in front, not Tortelli. And that's Roncada, who's in front of him, number 21. The battle's between the two. Hughes takes the inside route on Roncada, makes the pass. Tortelli's actually, well, he's about 10th place back there. He's got his work cut out for him, David.
Well, just like Carmichael's having a hard time nailing down that first moto, it seems like Tortelli's doing the same thing with the second moto. So the overall now is up for grabs with him that far back.
Team Kawasaki mates, they're not going to rub fenders.
I don't think Roncada's, he hangs around in the pits and knows, oh no, that's twice.
Ryan Hughes down again early in the race. This time he didn't have to restart it, though.
Kept it running. You know, I really wish Ricky wouldn't reach up in the air and fix his goggles or whatever he's doing until he's in the air. Now that scares me. Got a little twitch at the front end just as he was going off when he had his one hand on the bar.
Roncada not giving up. He's trying to follow Ricky Carmichael and put a little pressure on his teammate. Stepan, of course, colliding with Ferry in the first moto. The Honda current standings, Wyndham, Milliman, and Ferry. Right back with 250 action in a moment. Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross is brought to you by Yamaha, makers of fine motorcycles and ATVs. Nobody's more in tune with motorsports than Yamaha. Welcome back to Sacramento, California. The Hangtown Classic, the final moto of the 250s on the day. Number 934, Team Yamaha. David Milliman, the winner here last year, is in second place. And number 15, Tim Ferry, last week's winner, became the first four-stroke winner since Jimmy Button at Washougal in 1999. Here's the challenge underway. Ferry on the outside. Milliman looking back for some reason.
You know, I really wish he wouldn't do that.
He does it a lot.
I don't know. He did that so much in the Supercross season. I don't even know if he saw where he was going. But it just bothers me because the guy is so fast. He's so talented. He's probably the most clever guy out there when it comes to picking lines. I say that over and over, but I mean it. The guy is unbelievable. And, you know, race the race ahead of you. Don't worry about what's going on back there. It doesn't matter. If it was the last few laps or something and he needed to know what was going on for the overall or something, I can understand. But I don't know. You look back there, you're telling yourself you're getting weak. Watch Ferry. Just rides right around the outside. Now, maybe a little more power here, and he's able to get a little more aggressive with that wide line, but Milliman kind of let him have that. He could have stuffed him. Maybe that's a teammate thing, and he decided, I'll just follow him.
And from the looks of things, maybe he was looking back right here at number 4, Ricky Carmichael.
Well, you don't need to look. You can just listen to that. Carmichael, there's probably no mistake in him being on your tail. The pressure is ridiculous, and the way he's on the throttle is pretty hard to confuse him with anybody else.
In the first week's action, he lost his first moto ever at Glen Helen, posting an 8th, came back for a win in the second moto. Well, he got a 5th earlier here today, and I'm sure he'd like to get the checkered flag again to stay in that points race and keep the pressure on the points race. Oh, a scene is set for a great battle here for the lead. Wyndham and Ferry going at it, and here's Carmichael moving into third on Milliman. 4 riders pretty close to each other right now. But it's Carmichael putting in the faster laps.
Well, I know he's going after the win right now, and they're right in sight. This is one of those days for Ricky where you're just absolutely focused. You're forced to focus on the war, not the battle. There's no way he can win the overall unless he just, shoot, if he did, he might as well play lotto tonight because it's going to be a miracle.
Here comes Ferry on Wyndham. Ferry passing for the lead. Back and forth we go out in front. Tim Ferry on the 4-stroke. Wyndham got past after being out in front in the first moto, but he hung on pretty well and had good battles all the way.
Yeah, this is just a case of Ferry going a lot faster right now and taking a little bit better line, catching Wyndham off by surprise. Wyndham's riding unbelievable. But Ferry is just a notch above him, and I think you can see right now that Ferry winning that opener, that's no fluke. This guy is on a roll right now.
And Ferry wants to stay high in those points because 14 out of the 29 first-round leaders have won the title in the long run. We'll be right back. We're back at the Hangtown Classic outside of Sacramento, California. Second Moto 250 action. Number 13, Sebastian Tortelli, who won the first Moto, is now moving up to 5th. And he wants to get up in that position where it looks good for an overall position.
He's got to move up some more. He's got Villeman he might be able to pick off. And possibly Wyndham. I don't know. I don't think he's going to catch Carmichael. But if he can move up a couple more positions, he'll be looking pretty good for an overall. That one Moto win, that 3-point gap from first to second, really helps.
The guy who's always knocking on the door, Mike LaRocco, taking on Stefan Roncada. Roncada might still have cobwebs in his noggin after colliding with Ferry in that first Moto, and LaRocco takes him pretty easily. Now we shift back in the battle for second place. Here comes Ricky Carmichael against Kevin Wyndham. Ricky just blasts through those bumps.
That's just sheer nerve, Art. He landed right next to him.
Chad Watts, his mechanic, looking on, checking the watch. Ricky Carmichael in second place. He came from behind to win the second Moto last week. Let's go down to Davey.
Chad, how was Ricky between motos?
Honestly, I didn't see him that much. He went back and relaxed in the air conditioning as well. I was busy working, but seemed fine. He just kind of ticked off at himself and a couple mistakes and just the way things were going.
After his early charger, he's up to second. Only Ferry's in front of him. Do you think he'll bide his time or go right after him?
I don't think you can buy time this year in this class. I think you got to take advantage of the time that you got.
Truer words were never spoken, I feel.
Yeah, you know, Chad's pretty sharp over there, and they understand. These guys, second place just does not cut it. Fifth, they don't even want to talk about it. Just go out there and win the next Moto.
Ricky third in this race last year in the overall, going 1-4. He won twice here on 125s. On way to, three 125 crowns. And a record-tying 25-125 outdoor victories, tying Mark Barnett's all-time record.
And look at him go right now, Art. I mean, I don't know that it's possible to go any faster than the way Ricky just went through that series of corners. And there's Ferry, who was setting the pace out front. So Ricky is the fastest rider on the track.
A good shot at the interval between first and second place. Carmichael cinching it up with every lap. Let's check in once again with the Racer X's Davey Combs down in the mechanics area.
Brian, a little different start for you and Tim here in the second Moto.
Yeah, he got a really good start this time out. He actually led it on the first turn, got past by a couple of guys. He's moved his way back to the front. Ricky's hard charging right now, so we're definitely going to have to stay on our toes. I just got to keep calm. Hopefully we can stay out there.
Yeah, I noticed you guys didn't take a parade lap that time.
Well, the track was really wet. Every time you go out on the parade lap, your bike comes back all muddy, and it covers the starting line, which is concrete. It covers it with mud. You don't get any traction. We decided to opt out this time and try to keep the bike clean.
Paid off. You got the whole shot.
Yeah, it worked really good.
You know, David, what I'm really finding interesting here in the early going of this new season is the fact that during these races we have so many different leaders and we have so many different Moto winners.
Yeah, what an excellent season. You know, I mean, remember the years when it was just pretty much Emig and McGrath or, you know, Emig and Dowd. I mean, now a couple of guys can, you know, I think about it, but can drop out with an injury or something, and you're still going to have an unbelievable season. I mean, you know, just to finish inside the top 10 now is really something. The top 6 are just unbelievable. And it depends on the start, and if you're riding perfect that day, if you can stay there.
A good example right here. Mike LaRocco in 6th place. And he is riding really fast.
And, you know, it wasn't like he got a mid-pack start or anything. I mean, he started pretty close to the front, riding his tail off, and he's in 6th place. A long way to go to the lead. But he charged up to second first Moto.
Boy, a great shot there, too, of the effort. Mike LaRocco.
The balance it takes to come off that double, or whatever it is, triple, it looks like, and get into all those ruts. You know, you get your choice. They all set you up different for that next corner. Look at that, just pinned. Riding as hard as he can go and making up maybe a 1/10 of a second on the guy ahead of him.
Carmichael now is looking for opportunity to move into the lead. Tim Ferry on the 4-stroke, trying to hold on. He couldn't quite hold the barrages off in the opening round at Glen Helen. Taking 2 second places good enough for the overall. But he'd love to pick off this Moto win after a disappointing first Moto.
You know, there was a time in the sport when the Europeans dominated, then the U.S. dominated, then it was Southern California, then it was El Cajon. Well, look at this, Florida again. Something about Florida. Now Tortelli lives there.
The year of the Sunshine State?
Maybe. These guys are like, heat? What heat? Doesn't bother them. Of course, they're used to more humidity than this, but I think that's worse. This heat doesn't bother these guys at all. Look at Carmichael.
Carmichael to the inside, showing the wheel. He's trying all kinds of different lines now to the outside and has the edge on the corner. Can Ferry come back? Carmichael peers over at him. See what he might be contemplating. Carmichael is our new leader.
I'd love to know what was in the head of Ricky when he looked over at him. That was a long glance. It was more of a stare than a glance. I don't know if that was a, hey, take that, or, hey, bud, here we are again, 1 and 2. Look at this. Just about ruins the fencing. Trying to find a faster line. He finds it, puts himself to the inside the next corner, and then he just stares back at Tim. Like, what took you so long to get through that corner? I don't know. It's hard to tell if he's being cocky right there or just a friendly look.
You know, the overall at stake right now is Tortelli in 4th, or is in a battle for 4th, I should say. He needs that for the overall, with Ricky a possible winner here in the second Moto.
I said it was going to take a miracle for Ricky to win it. And he's not far from getting the overall. It's up to Tortelli right now.
He's battling David Villeman. Villeman 934, number 13 to the inside, gets to the berm first. So he secures 4th and now is in a great position should he hold it for the overall. Not to mention the points lead on the series. That would mean it would be the 3rd consecutive year that Tortelli has led the points during the season. We'll be right back. Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, long-lasting trucks on the road. And by Honda's Deals to Move On. Now's the time to get the world's best deals on the world's best bikes. Ricky Carmichael is our leader here in the second Moto, but here is the battle for 3rd. And it's important for Tortelli, points-wise. Pick up as many points as you can, as fast as you can. And Tortelli is putting the press on Kevin Windham. Number 13 on the inside is Tortelli. 14, the Team Suzuki, Kevin Windham. Right there gave notice that, hey, it's not going to be easy getting by me.
Well, he does it anyway, but you know what? Tortelli's brave the way he gets past people. They almost hit foot pegs. That was foot peg to foot peg through that berm, and you don't want to connect there. Somebody's going down. He just gives Windham a face full of dust right there. So, you know, I think it's really important for Tortelli, real important to try to get as many points on Carmichael right now. I think those are the two. Those guys are really worried about each other. Watch how close this gets. Look at their foot peg. Almost hit the rear tire of Kevin, or his swing arm. That would have been worse.
Have you ever had your foot run over like that on another bike?
I've been everything, Art. I've been run right over my stomach, crashing the first turn, and everybody, you know, it's weird. You get up and you're still in one piece, and it's hard to believe. But I don't think Carmichael, I think he's done his mulligans and all the stuff he's going to do for the season. I can't imagine him messing up anymore. And Tortelli needs to take advantage of this right now while Ricky's just not quite squared away.
He's on the final lap. Not only is there a rivalry for points between Tortelli and Carmichael in the outdoors, it's a close battle between the two in laps led. After the first Moto, Tortelli had led 20 laps on the season, RC 13. And I think RC will take over the lead right now with the laps he's led in this second Moto.
Wind really kicking up now, and as these guys go up the hill and jump that the Davy Coombs double, it really tries to blow the front end out from underneath you. They have to kind of steer into the wind. They take it a little easy on the approach,
Well, it looks so slick on the approach now, too.
Yeah, that's more the wind. As soon as you get up in the air, it doesn't blow the whole bike. It always blows the front end away. Listen to it. If you can hear it like that, it's bothering these guys on the track.
Sebastian Tortelli, if he holds this position, will take the overall victory. Chad Watts looking at his rider, Ricky Carmichael, in great position to win the Moto. And the crowd loving it.
Well, I think Ricky's proving to himself and to everybody else he's the fastest guy. But, you know, the fastest guy doesn't always win the championship. He's got to straighten out that first Moto from now on if he wants to take over the points lead. It looks like Tortelli's going to have it and the overall.
The checkers for Ricky Carmichael. His second Moto win out of 4 on the season. And the defending champion of this series, though, has a lot more depth of field to worry about this season. Taking second place, Tim Ferry. Third, Sebastian Tortelli. Wyndham LaRocco rounding out the top 5. Kyle Lewis in 9th. Let's go to Davey.
YRC, that was a tough one.
Yeah, it was, Davey. I just came off of winning the hardest title in the world, I believe, is the Supercross title, and I can't get it going in outdoor them first motos. I got a bad start. I started in first gear for the first moto, so that killed me, and then I made a stupid mistake of my own in a turn and fell down. I believe I'm the fastest guy, but this title, you have to be consistent, and I'm not doing that right now, and I get to go home this week and get in my element and see what we can do next weekend on my kind of dirt.
In the second moto, you had to run down Tim Ferry again. It was just like last week. Ferry's doing all right.
Timmy's riding really well. I'm pumped for him. His bike seems to be working good, you know, and he's riding good. It's good to see somebody from Florida up there mixing it up, and we're putting it to him, these second motos. I like that, and, you know, I need to focus on myself and start going 1-1 every weekend and start stacking them points up, because what I'm doing now ain't cutting it.
It's the second consecutive race that Ricky Carmichael hasn't won the overall, but he's only 7 points back as Tortelli takes his first win of the season. Last year, he went all the way to the 6th round before his first victory. Let's go to Dave.
Well, congratulations, Sebastian. That was good for an overall win.
Yeah, you know, it's great to be on the podium for the overall win, and, you know, my start was not very good on the second moto, but, you know, I pushed hard and did some good lap times, and I'm pretty happy about it.
It looked like you had a pretty good battle going there with Wyndham again.
Yeah, I guess he was pretty mad from the first moto, but, you know, I get my way around him, and that was what was important.
You got the win. A lot of people probably thought that Carmichael would be the points here at this point, but now you've got the lead. Are you happy about how everything's going?
Yeah, you know, I'm pretty happy. You know, I'm taking race by race, and what I want is, you know, to win as many races as possible and, you know, be doing good starts, and that helps, you know, to be on the podium on the front. And, you know, my bike is working great. You know, I cannot ask for better. I'm just feeling good, and, you know, all the team did a great job. Suspension, engine, you know, bike is just great.
That had to be a hot one today.
Yeah, it was pretty warm, but, you know, last year it was pretty warm out here too, and we kind of expected, you know, this temperature. But, you know, it feels good now. We're going to go to Mount Moriah. It's a great track, you know, very like a GP style, so, you know, they're going to be probably better for me.
Good job today.
Thank you.
So the newest Florida resident takes over the points lead above 2 other Floridians. Tortelli's family moving in as we speak in their new Florida home. Tortelli with a 7-point lead, but all kinds of riders in the mix after 2 rounds on our Suzuki point standings. Last week in the first round, it was surprise, surprise. Not so this week.
Nope, all the surprises are gone. Everything's out in the open, and if you look at the 125 class, Langston has just been perfect. Well, now they head back to Mount Morris, Southwick, and Budds Creek, Travis's favorite tracks. And in the 250, Tortelli can't wait for Mount Morris, and neither can Ricky.
Art Ekman for David Bailey and Davey Coombs, thanking you for being with us. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.